tried to make like this big deal about everything when it was going on. I don't remember her making a big deal of
She
everything.
because she
I just remember.
probably didn't. She has nothing to talk about you for, and she just had to pick something out of her brain to blow out of proportion. Hello, beautiful people. It's Mama Goob. I am coming at you today with a reaction to Destiny's latest video. So, not a live stream. Destiny did a video yesterday called Clarity. And first of all, I don't know. I feel like Destiny's becoming our latest member of Gorl World, which is fine because I've just about had it with Amber and Chantal. Ugh. You want to talk about animal ABUSE? That would be Chantal. So today's video is called Clarity from Destiny. Now, okay, I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers today because I want to explain some things to you. So I was watching Jordy this morning, as I always do in the morning when he has a video. Love you, Jordy. But you probably don't know me because I'm so tiny. Anyway, so I watch Jordy every morning, and I didn't agree with his entire take on actually. It's not that I didn't agree with his take on Destiny and the dog situation. I wanted to explain things. And there's just a few things I want to explain. Um, and this is, like I said, going to ruffle some feathers, but hear me out, guys. So I don't come at this to be mean to anybody. I'm not bullying. Remember, I'm just a older mom who had weight loss surgery 8 years ago. Now, I will drop what I'm going to tell you about Destiny and Company right here. Let me see. Let me explain this. And if you don't care to hear this or are too sensitive to hear this, then this isn't the video for you. Hope you come next time. Destiny. Without being mean to certain groups of people, you have to understand that culture. All right. So although it's mostly linked to a lower socioeconomic class, wealthy people can be like this too. Um, my experience with it. So I half of my marriage was spent, unfortunately, mired in this culture until I kind of got my way out. And when I experienced it, it was related to people who lived in trailer parks. Okay, literally, do not come for me. This is, remember, my opinion, my experience. Remember, guys, I've lived uh, an interesting life, okay? So I'm older. I can see things a little bit differently. And although I am crazy sensitive when it comes to dogs, like if the ASCPA commercials, where they show the arms of the angel or they play the arms of the angel and the dog's half dead or whatever, I will dive across the room to get the remote to shut that off. Part of that is because of the years I've lived in the last few years, okay? But part of it is I'm just highly sensitive. I've always been sensitive to animals. Animals are a big deal, big part of my life. So when I'm probably going to edit out a lot of the more upsetting parts, but I do want to sort of explain what Destiny's trying to say from somebody who's been on that side of the culture and now out of that side of culture. I'm just going to explain it. Next thing, I don't know if you all caught the Cinnamon Toast Ken video. So I honestly, I don't know who Cinnamon Toast Ken is, but I guess there's two people. Like I said, don't know much about them. Um, they seem like just general YouTube sort of podcasters. I have no idea, but they did a video, Woman Game gained 200 plus pounds on weight loss journey. So the reason why I bring this up, because it's hysterical to watch two normies discuss Amberlynn Reid. So I'll link the channel. I'm sure y'all know more about it. He has 4.6 million subscribers. And this video got like, let's see, 258,000 views, 2,333 comments, 15,000 likes. When's the last time Amberlynn ever got 1,500 likes? So anyways, I think the best way to do this is just let's get started with Destiny's video, and I will start, and edit it out as necessary. So without further ado, let's see what our new Gorl has to say. All right, guys, so I just finished watching the Destiny video. I am going to cut this and put this at the front of my video because, number one, I want to clear this up. I kept calling Cash a pit bull. Cash was not a pit bull. But the story and the analogy I talked about still stands, okay? Sometimes dogs are bred to be just vicious, or they just end up being vicious because of who their parents are. Okay, not knocking on any breed of dog, but I also tried to be careful on the words I picked. But this episode might not be for everybody. It is very emotional. Okay, I got emotional. I made this video thinking I was going to kind of make fun of the situation. I mean, I knew she cleared up the Cash stuff, but I didn't think I was going to get so just emotional as a mom, I guess, and as somebody who's been through some stuff too. So I am going to cut this and put this in the beginning. So be warned, don't watch it if you're sensitive. And I'm sensitive. So. All right. So anyways, I'm making myself be the main picture this time and the video the smaller picture, because I think I'm going to end up doing a lot of talking, and I want y'all to see my expressions, because what I'm going to say today is going to be really heartfelt and really hard for me to talk about. So I don't know. Let's see what Destiny has to say. I love her graphics. I wish I was an inch that talented.
Hey guys, so this is not an ideal setup, but I'm in my bed and I have some laundry I have to do.
Don't we all?
This is probably the last little bit I'm going to read out of this notebook, just because it's so much to sit and watch these like compilation videos and everything, and I'm just basically after.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, speaking of compilation videos, my husband had some, Papa Goob had some very minor outpatient surgery earlier. So while I was at the surgery center waiting for him, I got caught up on apathetic facts. They did a look back on the breakup era with Becky and the love bombing with Wifey. And oh my goodness, Amberlynn Reid looked fantastic back then for the most part. You know, it's just amazing, like, to hear it, to be reminded how much Wifey was supposed to change her life, and pretty much the opposite happened. She only got worse.
Me and Dana get together and are basically living together. It's pretty much all from memory anyway. Like it's not going to be a point of me watching videos because I'm not going to be mostly in them or surrounded by them. So we'll start with February of 2017, and I think I've only got February to like most of March in here, and then I'll just go off memory. So this video might include some of 2018, and I might stop at that point, but I don't know. All right.
I'm going to edit that out. I'll try. Anyways, again, I don't know if I made this clear. I honestly can't remember, but what Amberlynn Reid did to Destiny at this point was just wrong on so many levels, because you can tell that Destiny was really upset with this dog situation, and for Amberlynn Reid to come like say, oh, you're a pet abuser, because of that is just cruel. Now, I am not a Destiny stan at all. And she does handle her puppies rough, right? So she smacks them, whatever. I don't like that. That is not cool to me. However, in this one instance, Amberlynn Reid has no right to drag Destiny for this.
Right. So February 2017, Amberlynn just talks about weight loss a lot, like wanting to lose weight or losing some weight, maybe, I don't know. She's hanging out with her friends a lot, going with Charla and what have you, and I'm just doing my own thing with Dana. Like, we're still living together at this point. I'm just doing my own thing. She's doing her own thing. I was hanging out with Dana, like, I was, when me and her first started, like, actually dating, so,
Her
like,
and I.
and maybe even a little bit before, I don't know. But me and Dana started dating February 13th.
Dana and
so
I.
It wasn't.
So, you know what? I'm not going to correct her anymore, but this is kind of part. I mean, I don't want to say it's a culture, but it kind of is a culture. So, I mean, it's fine. Come for me in the comments, guys. I'm just telling you my life is, how I sort of relate to what she's saying just because of the life I've lived.
Very long into February. Well, after me and Dana started dating, though, I do know that I had to help her and her mom out with getting to and from work. I think most of them had a way to work. I was usually driving them home, which I was taking Dana home anyway at night, and we were just hanging out a little bit. But I was still going home, sometimes staying the night at her house, but I was mostly still going home to the apartment. And then on the weekends, I would stay with Dana, like Friday night after work, go home with her, and just be there till Sunday. And on Sundays,
oh, by the way, I think Dana was under 21 at this point.
Amberlynn would have like this whole thing planned out with what she wanted me and her to do, whether that be going to the movies, grocery shopping, what have you. And at one point, we got a Costco membership because I was tired of her buying just like the smallest little bitty bits of things, just so
she was manipulating her.
I'd have to take her shopping weekly. I was like, why do you have to grocery shop weekly? Why can't you do at least 2 weeks? Like, why does it have to be weekly?
Well,
because sometimes
some people go shopping every day. I mean, I'm not a fan of I'm a fan of shopping weekly, and listen, I can't give Amber too much shit for that, but she was just clearly trying to manipulate her and hoping to win her back.
I would have plans, and I would have to circulate myself around what Amberlynn needed to do, and it was just kind of annoying. And I thought the Costco membership would help. It didn't.
So that's why she should have left as soon as possible.
I wrote, the weekly shopping, all that. At this point, me and Dana were still talking, I guess, when I got the Costco membership. We weren't dating yet, but I know that we were still hanging out a lot. We were going on, like, some small dates before work, hanging out after work, whatever. The situation that happened with Charla, and Amberlynn driving by Dana's house when I was hanging out with her.
So, yeah, this is it. Me personally, I wasn't like this, but I definitely knew women, remember, much younger, different sort of deal, would do this. And there would be these people. They would constantly seek out and cause drama, like ridiculously. So, granted, we were all young back then, but these people, as grown-ass adults, still do shit like this.
It doesn't matter what me and Dana were doing in there. That was still very, not called for. But basically, Dana was very upset with that, too. That day, I remember that day, I don't know why Charlotte didn't work. I don't think Charlotte ever got moved to morning shift at that job. I think she was literally just calling out to hang out with Amberlynn sometimes.
Yeah, so, and this is another thing that Jordy didn't understand. And I tell you, they're like this. I've known people like this to call out of work. Now, mind you, this is ridiculous because this was an excellent job. Like, it paid, what, 15 plus an hour to data entry? For data entry, so they had to have basically only typing skills to get a job like this. But yet they called out all the time to provoke drama. Yeah, I knew people like this in the past.
But Amberlynn was like, oh, me and Charlotte want to hang out today. Can you just drop me off at her house? And then just get me after you're done hanging out with Dana, after work, because, I had to work. So I was like, yeah, that'll work. So, I take her to Charlotte's, go to work, do work, and then I take Dana home, and we're just, just trying to hang out, whatever. I want to say we were dating.
And a lot of time with these people, again, back to the whole calling out, they really only need like a specific amount of money to be happy, right? Just enough. Just making enough to pay their bills and, whatever it is. And mind you, $15 an hour in this neighborhood, like Kentucky, I'm sure, was fantastic, especially back then. So, you know, that's another reason why she probably cut work all the time. Just ridiculous because that was a good job. Might have sucked, but it was a good
was
job.
brought up in the compilation video, and the compilation videos are kind of, they're not exactly in order because Amberlynn uploaded weird. But, me and Dana, things went where they went, and, I was just busy, obviously, and my phone was in the living room. We were in the bedroom. And when we came back out, I want to say Amberlynn had Snapchatted me a picture of my car in Dana's parking lot, Dana's driveway, and all that. And
she's not cheating on you. You're broken up.
It more so upset me because, well, Amberlynn wanted me to come get her after I got done hanging out with Dana because Charlotte had said that she was not going to have either the gas or didn't want to drive that late to take her home because it was like a 30-minute commute. Which was, I didn't really care, I just figured I'd get done when I got done and I would pick Amberlynn up and so be it. Well, I guess to Amberlynn, I was taking too long, but Charlotte went out of her way to drive her past Dana's house.
Yeah. Charlotte's a piece of shit, too. Okay? Her and Amber are match made in heaven.
And all the way back to her own house, but she couldn't drive Amberlynn home. It really made me mad because
I wish Charlotte would make videos because she'd make an excellent Gorl.
Where Dana lived and where Charlotte lived was probably about the same distance, maybe a little bit less. But in the time it took her to drive there and back, it probably would have used the same gas than it would have been to take Amberlynn home. So it made me really mad. I explained all of that. Like I said, me and Dana started dating on February 13th, 2017. On Valentine's Day, now we all know Valentine's Day was a mess for Amberlynn.
If you didn't see that drunk live stream, that's a good one to go back and watch.
The day of Valentine's Day, I knew I had to take Dana the presents I had got her for Valentine's Day. I wanted to, hang out with her before we went to work and give her her presents. I got her a giant teddy bear, a Harry Potter cup, a card, and maybe a couple other little things, I don't know. But before I did that, Amberlynn had me get up early and she asked if I would go get her some wine from the liquor store, and I was like, whatever, and I did. And then she got drunk.
Yeah, we know.
Video and and all that. I tried to spend a lot of time away from Amberlynn just because things were still kind of weird between us.
So note to all the people that are younger and don't realize, I know you have an economic tie, but if you're contemplating breaking up, part of that contemplation really ought to be some planning on where you're going to go. Becky fell in this trap too. Maybe I'm just special. I don't know what I'm just, but them not having a plan, it just baffles my mind. So they break up and then, okay, goodbye.
I don't know. And Amberlynn was obviously very upset about that.
Or they break up and they just stay there. I don't understand that. If I broke up with my partner, I'd be out of there.
Amberlynn ends up staying at Dana's with me one of the times that I stay there because it was...
That is weird.
I think it was a Sunday, actually. I had went home on a Sunday from hanging out with Dana, and me and Amberlynn had ran and done a bunch of stuff, and I said, because I think I had got Dana something. I think I had got her a little gift or just wanted to see her, grab something. I don't remember if I forgot. Something. I had to go back there. So we were there, and her roommate were drinking. Dana and her roommate. You see her name's Sarah. She's in some of the videos Amberlynn posted after this. We go there, and Amberlynn ends up like, oh, I want to get drunk. Let's drink. It'll be okay.
That Amberlynn doesn't drink. And by the way, the apathetic facts about the love bombing when wifey was in the situation, she drank a lot back then too. And that was just 2021.
We're all friends here, whatever. And it was a little awkward, but it happened. And then I think we all ended up calling out at work the next day because we were all a little hungover. But
yeah, that's okay.
It was awkward, but I mean, it was still a good time, whatever. And then
It's amazing that they were able to keep that job.
after that, that's when Amberlynn's basically like, oh, bring Dana with us when we go to do stuff. So basically, it wasn't just like us trying to hang out with Amberlynn, me and Dana. It was me having to help Amberlynn go grocery shopping and do this and do
You
that.
didn't
Like,
have to.
she always wanted to run around Lexington. She always wanted to do this. She always wanted to do that. And basically, Amberlynn was like giving me the okay to just bring Dana with us so we could spend time together.
Sounds like a ploy.
Dana stayed with me a couple nights at the apartment when she could. Amberlynn babysat Cash. Okay, I was about to explain this when I literally made this video, and Amberlynn went,
Okay, Cash is the dog. It's the pit bull. I'm not sure how this is going to work out in editing, but I'm willing to sit through this story again because the way Destiny explains it is a lot better than the way Amberlynn Reid explained it, which I couldn't even listen to the last half. I couldn't.
live today and talked about Cash, my dog Cash. His name was Johnny Cash. And I have June Carter. He's right here behind me. A little sassy turd.
Love Johnny Cash.
I had her babysit him a couple times when we were like going to be out because when we got him, he was supposed to be 6 weeks old. It turned out he had to have only been like 3 or 4 weeks old. And I actually didn't go.
Right then and there, and she's going to explain that they had to like basically wean this dog. Right there is not a good way for a dog to start.
With him, with Dana and Maggie, her friend, when they went to get him, they just knew that we wanted a boy. We didn't want a girl because we didn't want to deal with, a dog going in heat, getting them fixed, all that. Like, we just wanted a boy. I also just prefer boys. I've never had too many girl dogs.
So you're supposed to get a boy dog fixed, number one. Number two, I actually don't like boys because I feel like they like to lift their leg and pee all over the place. Fixed or not fixed?
Twinkie, that's like the only girl dog I've had as an adult. So, and I had a pit bull that was a girl, actually. But she was not fixed. She never went in heat with me. I can say that.
See, she cycles through dogs, and we'll get this in a minute.
But Cash, like I said, was very tiny when we got him. I did not go with them. They went out in the middle of nowhere, and they said, we really want a boy. And the only boy they had he was like itty bitty. They said compared to the other puppies that were in the basket, he was so tiny.
Backyard breeders, they're not good. They're not good people. And this is somebody who's accidentally had a couple litters of puppies come through the house, which we'll explain in a moment.
And sorry. The guy tried to tell them that he was a runt, basically, and that's what Dana told me because that's all she knew.
Yeah,
and when she got home, his eyes were still kind of milky, like his ears,
like his eyes just
kind of open, like he didn't have any teeth yet, not even little nubs, just like gums. And I was like, holy crap, they gave you a too young puppy.
That is disgusting.
Like, that baby should not be away from its mom.
That's disgusting.
So, I got puppy formula bottles, anything that I could think we would need for a puppy, like that little.
She's lucky that dog survived.
Like, like we had these wipes because sometimes he would go to the bathroom on his own, but like when puppies are first born, they have to be stimulated to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
And so we would have to do that. Like, there was a lot we had to do for this dog. We raised this dog literally from a bottle. He had to have a passy because they're so used to being with their mom and being able to nurse all the time that he really thought he needed his bottle all the time, and we would like feed him his bottle till he got really tired and swap it for a passy. I mean, it was literally like raising a baby.
Yeah. So, and this is amazing that she knew all this. I mean, I'm glad she did, but you can tell that she's also dealt with dog litters in her day.
And that's why Amberlynn had to babysit him because he needed constant, just everything going on. So, and when we were at work, thankfully Dana's roommate was there through all this. She worked night shift, so she had him during the day. So it was pretty nice. But eventually he got bigger and didn't need all of that, obviously. Well, we had him for a long time, like basically our whole relationship. I mean,
what was that, like 4 years, 3 years, 5 years? I don't know. That's not a long time for a dog. Okay, long time for a dog is its entire life. But I digress.
Eventually, we have to move out of our house, me and Dana. This is getting way ahead of everything, but eventually we moved out of our house that we first had together, in with her friend, and then I moved to Florida, and Dana had them. Well, then when she was moving to Florida, we couldn't bring our animals with us. That's also when I had my pit bull. Very hard to find anywhere to live with a pit bull. I was
Yes.
thankful of the house.
Well, really, it was for us when we moved back to the city that we lived in. It's hard to find a rental property that took a large lab without, an arm and a leg's worth of deposit. And that's mostly why we ended up buying, because we just didn't want to hear it.
Me and Dana first had together, it was like a rent to own type situation. So
Yeah.
we could have her, like there wasn't anything against it, but it was going to be very hard. And she was also deaf. The pit bull was. I'm getting off topic on Cash, but I'm just letting you know what happened to my pit bull. Dana had these friends that were like, "Oh, we have this big farm that's fenced in. She could run literally as far as she ever thought she could.
Okay.
Like everything was really good." So that's where she went. We found a loving place for her to go, and it was awesome. But with Cash, we let Dana's dad wanted to keep her or him because he's a real good dog. He is a very good, like security kind of dog.
Yeah.
Like he was not gonna let anyone get mad.
Yeah, and we'll get into this, but I bet you anything that dog was bred to fight. It's disgusting. I really hate to talk about this.
If he was around.
We'll get into it.
He did not let him be inside. He was chained up outside, and I feel like that's one of the things that led to everything that happens with Cash.
Yeah. So a lot of people will not like the chain thing. And I don't like the chain thing. I think it's disgusting. But dogs like this have to be chained outside. All right. You can't just let them walk around the backyard, because they will find a way out, and they're vicious. And every pit bull we've ever owned in that caliber, no, we're not dog fighters, I'll get to that in a minute, had to be outside chained up. It is disgusting. Okay, wouldn't do that now. Learned my lesson. That was the 90s, guys.
Was just he went from being he was 98% of the time outside with us too, but it was because he wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like it got to the point where he was letting himself out of the house.
Yeah,
and just
that's
staying
dangerous
outside all the time. So
yeah.
He loves being outside. And so when she moved here, that's where he went. And then about a year into living in Florida, we were like, we want Cash down here with us. So my dad's kind of against having a older dog come in the house. So I was like, well, I'll see if a friend can watch after him.
Yeah.
While
I don't understand this part.
We try to find a place, because we didn't plan on moving back to Kentucky. We really didn't. We didn't know it. Like if we knew we were going to move back to Kentucky, we wouldn't have brought him back here, obviously. But he was staying with one friend at first, then it wasn't working out with their dog. And then he started staying with my friend Haley.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially the male, well, we had a female once that didn't like other dogs. They have all right, pit bulls could be the sweetest animal in the entire planet. If they're brought up right, if they're not bred into, so some dogs have the aggression built into them just by the way that the parents are of the dog. So if you can get a pit bull that's, comes from a good bloodline and is raised properly, they're the sweetest dogs in the world. But pit bulls from a backyard breeder,
no. And he did great there. Was around her kids, her smaller kids, never had any issues, was great there. And then we moved back to Kentucky, and he was basically just with us back at her dad's house, because we were kind of staying back and forth between my mom's house and her parents' house. And we had tried to take him to my mom's before, but he's too aggressive with other male dogs. And my mom had a few male dogs. So it just wasn't working.
And I know, it's not just pit bulls who get aggressive, but a lot of times the pit bulls are aggressive.
Carter the whole time was with my mom. He was staying with Dana until she moved to Florida. And he just stayed with my mom. Well, she had already had him, but Dana kept him for a little while and then gave him back. But because of the whole thing with Carter trying to get bred with the other dog. I've explained that before.
That's why you fix the males. But it's okay.
Well, like I said, we moved back. He stays back and forth with us, whatever. Well, then we don't want a roommate when we start looking for somewhere to live and figuring out job situation. But the girl that we ended up becoming roommates with actually worked at the daycare that we worked at with us. Or she worked at the sister one. And she was like, it'd be really nice if you guys moved in, help out, whatever. So, and we were able to bring Cash. So we had Cash there. And it happened on New Year's Day. Um, New Year's Day 2020 is when this situation happened. We had actually spent New Year's with Amberlynn and Becky and Eric and Ricky. I don't know if that's the drunk night y'all are talking about. I don't know.
It's not.
But I know that
It's Halloween.
um, we still were kind of iffy on him because he had shown signs of aggression towards dogs, never people. So we still just kept weary because our roommate.
Yeah, but you can't trust them. Please come for me in the comments. It's fine, but I don't want to offend anybody.
Had a dog, and I was like, listen, while we're gone, either just let him be outside, let him in, drink water, eat. There's a water bowl outside, whatever, or keep him in his kennel, or just make sure you're like with him. If you're just gonna.
She basically had no business having this dog. All right, that's the bottom line. Especially when you bounce the dog from home to home to home, that's not good for the dog.
Have him out. Just make sure you watch him because I just didn't want him getting aggressive with her dog, even though it was a female dog. I just didn't want anything happening while we weren't there. And like I said, we had hung out with Amberlynn, Becky, Eric, Ricky. Well, Amberlynn and Becky were like, well, it's been a while since we've been like towards where we lived. And she was like, well, what if we go to Olive Garden and all this stuff? So we drove and we were literally getting into the town that me and Dana were living in. And our roommate starts calling Dana and she's like hysterical. And she says that Cash has just bit her 2-year-old that was also living there. And we try to ask her what happened. Like, is the baby?
It doesn't matter. Yes, the baby was fine. Well, actually, the baby will never be the same again. Believe me.
You okay? Is it like, like what happened? And she did not know. She did not know. She said she didn't see it happen. She wasn't even in the living room. It happened in the kitchen. She was in her bedroom, which was in the very back of the house. The kitchen was at the front of the house. I don't know what happened.
See what I mean about the people that they surround themselves with? They're just not playing with the full deck. Who would leave a 2-year-old in a kitchen and go into your bedroom with a strange pit bull? Nobody with common sense. All right. Now I'm going to get a lot of people. Oh, my pit bull was so sweet. Blah, 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 blah. Probably. All right. So this is a good story. This is a good time as anything to tell you this story. Okay. So I'm Mama Goop. I grew up in a relatively upper middle class neighborhood, right? Papa Goob kind of didn't. Okay, so I'm not going to get into his stuff, but basically we surrounded ourselves in the beginning of our relationship and early into our marriage with kind of unsavory people. So now my husband's kind of a hunter. He's not kind of a hunter. He was an avid hunter, boar hog, which is a big thing in Florida. And actually, boar hogs cause problems because they root the grounds, and the people with the cattle fall in and break their legs, and then they have to destroy that animal. So actually, by hunting, they're doing them a favor. Okay, so back in the day, like in the 90s, my husband hunted with dogs. Now, the dogs were fine. The dogs did not get hurt, but they needed the dogs to go in there. And pit bulls, because with all due respect, again, please, I am not trying to offend anybody, and I'm trying to be so careful how I say this. Pit bulls are dumb, okay? They don't understand. Where another dog, the first time a hog bit them or use their tusks against them, that would be the first and last time they would ever bite or ever go after a hog. With pit bulls, they don't care. They'll just go in and go crazy. Now, you're wondering, okay, won't the dog get killed? Well, knock on wood, we never got one. No, one of ours never got killed. They wear these, what's called catch collars. So they're like these big, thick, extremely heavy leather collar, to where if the hog gets them, they're not going to kill the dog. The hog is not going to kill the dog. So that was it. So we had a dog, and I was never fond of this, all right? As a matter of fact, if I knew I wouldn't OD on carbs, I'd be a vegetarian, guys. Like, to this day, if they go hunting and whatever, I refuse to eat any venison or any hog meat. I don't like it, okay? But the people we hung around with, that's what they did. That was their culture, fine. So we had this dog named Shredder. Yes, his name was Shredder. We got him as a baby puppy. We raised this dog forever. This dog was extremely possessive of me. Okay, like one day my husband came into the bedroom holding a broom and Shredder went after him because he thought that maybe my husband was going to come beat me or something. And I'm like, no, he's going to clean. Let him do it. So he was very, very, very protective. And ever since that day, my husband did not like that. And I don't blame him because our theory was we never had a dog in the house that would be aggressive. That was my compromise because most of the times, even these hog dogs, they're generally, decent. They're dog aggressive, but they're generally not people aggressive, like she says. But in her case, I think this dog was number one, either bred to fight or probably bred to fight. And if it didn't be a fighter, it was going to be a bait dog, which is disgusting. Okay, we're not going to get into that. So meanwhile, so this is the 90s. I had the younger goop, okay, or the older goop. I'm sorry. It's pregnant for the first time. We kept Shredder. And we also had an English pointer like I've had now called Gertie. So Shredder decided to be now staunchly protective of Goob. Okay, like bad. One day Gertie got too close to Goob and Shredder lit her up. So that was it. My husband ended up breaking a chair to break them up. So the other thing about pit bulls, they get like lockjaw, meaning that when they bite down, you need a like a break stick to pry their jaws open. Okay. So he ended up breaking a chair and prying the dog's mouth open, and then that next day, the love of my life, Shredder, went to go live with the people who do that more often. So that was that for that. Now, through the years, my husband got more, back. Went into hunting, out of hunting, into hunting, out of hunting. Once in a while, like these dogs to these people were like, I don't know, like library books, literally. They passed from person to person to person to person, except for when they hit the Goob household. Because I would fall in love with these animals and they wouldn't leave. So I don't know if you've ever seen Cy, like walking behind me. He was he's a retired hunting dog, but he's a nose, right? So he's not a catch because he's a pointer. So he found the hogs and pointed them. Like literally they point. So he's retired now. He's very, very, very old. We love him each day that he has. And then before we had Bella's an English pointer. We had Baby. Now, Baby, so Gertie was old. Gertie passed when the kids were young. Then we got through the line of passing dogs around. We ended up with Baby. So I put my foot down and I'm like, well, we're keeping Baby, okay? Because I love the English pointers and I didn't want her to go back in the circle. So we kept Baby. And then we had to babysit some dogs. Some literal fucking asshole let us babysit a fucking pregnant dog, okay? Pregnant. So it had puppies. I had to deal with fucking puppies, okay? So that is not fun. That is just, no. No, I can't explain it to you. I didn't expect it. The guy was supposed to come back and he magically never came back. I was pissed. Anyways, that is my background. I'll let her go on.
There was a lot of iffy things going on with her as a mother as well that was beyond my control. And I'm not gonna get into all that.
I bet you she was on drugs.
But all I knew was that.
And if the person had problems and couldn't take care of their kid, an aggressive dog that would be the last place I would leave an aggressive dog. Okay, with a 2-year-old. And mind you, I just told you about Papa Goob. He's from this, what she's going to talk about, he's from this culture. That dog wouldn't have lasted another 5 minutes. Okay, I'm just saying I would have had a freak out heart attack. Well, if it were me, that dog, number one, we wouldn't own the dog. Oh yeah, by the way, Florida, she's going to talk about Florida. It's very hard to have a pit bull in Florida. Okay, you will not get homeowners insurance if they know you have a pit bull. That's how bad it is, right? So, not only would I never have an aggressive dog like that, but I would never leave it around a strange child. It's one thing for the dog to be around a child that it grew up with, okay? So, if I was in this impossible situation, that dog wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes with my husband. We don't play with biting kids.
I needed to go and get this baby to the doctor.
And that's not animal abuse. Sorry, it's just not. Some dogs are just not good dogs, okay?
Didn't know what to do about Cash right then. I just knew that with this happening and taking her to the hospital, that animal control and the health department were going to get involved. And
she can get in a lot of trouble for this, yes. She could, personally. And they'd destroy the dog.
98% sure Cash was going to have to get put down.
Yes.
And it was either us take care of it or someone else. So I was like freaking out about that, freaking out about the baby.
I don't know where they lived in Florida, but I am going to make the wild guess where it was not like metropolitan Miami. It was probably closer to Kentucky-like atmosphere than it was like kind of where I live in the city. So I could totally imagine animal control had that discussion with her if she wanted to put the dog down herself. For some strange reason, some of these people, that's like they feel like it's their duty, okay? It's completely ridiculous. And, oh, there's a fly. It's very sad, but that's how some people live, okay? I know a lot of people on here are very staunchly possessive of dogs, and believe me, I am, okay? But like that, remember back in Amberlynn Reid's day where everybody got upset with her because she didn't take Twinkie to the emergency vet? Well, let me explain to you something. Like a lot of times when the dogs hurt themselves, it's because, they hurt themselves and you bring them to the vet, like if they don't clear up in a day or two. Twice I've had to bring my dogs to the emergency vet. One time the little dog, Rennie, got a bufo tog, I think it's called a bufo tog. They're toad. They're highly poisonous, very big problem in Florida. And with a small dog, so when they've gotten the frog, they foam at the mouth. And so the first thing you do, you stop whatever you're doing and you flush their mouths with as much water as you can without choking the dog. Then you wrap the dog up in a towel, and we brought her to the emergency vet because this was like 10 o'clock at night. So that little thing, like they kept her overnight. They, put medicine in her, made sure she was going to survive. And, obviously this was when she was a lot younger. She's here. She's sleeping under that table right now. So it was worth it to me, but it was $2,000. Way back in probably 2011 or so, she was a young dog. $2,000. Then Baby, I cherished Baby. I have no idea what happened, what she got into. She just got a terrible infection. And we knew she wasn't doing well. And, like you think if a dog doesn't eat one day, it's like, all right, fine, the dog didn't eat. But like the second day, when this is like a chow hound, you start to worry. Well, then finally it was freaking Sunday. And I'm like, I can't. I got to bring this dog in. So again, we used the same emergency vet, and they kept Baby overnight, gave her fluids. They had no idea what was wrong with her. $2,000 later, the dog died within a week. It was just terrible because they convinced me, oh no, the dog will be fine. We just gave the dog fluids. She'll be fine. She'll pull through it. We ended up taking her to another vet because she would just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then that's where we found that she had a severe infection. And I did everything I could. I fed this dog I fed her puppy milk. She wouldn't eat at this point, through her mouth with a plastic medicine syringe. It was the most heartbreaking thing ever. She died in my arms, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sorry. This is a sad story. But this is like why I'm so strong feeling. Like I understand what Destiny's saying. I don't understand what Amberlynn's saying because Amberlynn's a fucking hypocrite. But okay, let's see if she can finish. Or I might edit this out. I'm not sure yet.
I tell Amberlynn and Becky, sorry, this is what's going on, whatever. We get to the place and I see the baby. I immediately put her in my car. Like, I was really close to that baby, and I feel really bad for that baby.
Of course.
I said, I had some concerns with the way that person was mothering that child.
Oh, yeah.
And I still think about her almost every day, and I feel really bad that I never did anything about what was going on with that kid. But
can't save them all.
She's fine now. I know she is, but I still feel bad about what was going on then. But, I mean, she would go straight to me. Like, so I literally got there, got her to the hospital. Dana stayed behind with Cash. Her mom came and got Cash. They took him to her dad's house. I get to the hospital with the baby. She didn't need stitches or anything.
But still, a dog bites, you need antibiotics. They need to clean it. Dog's mouth is not cleaner than anything else. All right, dogs' mouths are full of bacteria, and a bite is not a good thing.
I have pictures of when.
And by the way, they're lucky that dog didn't jaw lock on that baby.
It happened, but I'm not going to show those because it was a child.
They've been known to kill children. Okay.
But she got bit basically right here, like basically just one bite right here, and it was pretty rough. It was already very bruised. She didn't need stitches though or anything. Cash had his rabies shot, so there wasn't that to worry about.
Thank God.
And I did have to fill out forms for the health department, animal control, and I asked them, am I just gonna have to put him down like what? And they said don't do anything until they came and assessed him. Basically, I'm sorry if you hear him snoring. So we have to wait for a phone call, and then we have to wait for an appointment for someone to come out. So it literally happened in like 2 days, though. I got a call while I was at work, I think the next day, just asking where the dog was and, like what was being done right then. And I told him, where he was, and I told them.
And that's amazing because in Florida, animal control would have kept the dog. It would have impounded where I live. They would have impounded the dog. I think you have a minimum time where they quarantine them, whether or not they have their rabies. And I don't know that they immediately destroy a dog the first time it's bit somebody, a human, but yeah, they will take the dog, and they won't let you, where I live, they won't let you destroy the dog, but they'll do it.
That we hadn't done anything to him, that we weren't home when they asked us what happened. Because like I said, I had asked the mom and she didn't know. And I told her all of what I knew. And, she's like, okay, well, someone will be out tomorrow to do it. And I said, okay, well, I have to work, but someone will be there. So Dana's dad waited for this guy the next day. And listen, that Cash was also territorial over just like male gender. Like he didn't like male dogs. He didn't like men. Yeah. He liked Dana.
That's a warning sign. You can't have a dog like that. Sorry.
His dad, and that's literally about it. And like a couple guy friends that we had, but like.
Oh, and no, you cannot retrain a pit bull like this. Guaranteed that dog was bred to fight. You cannot out-train breeding, okay? Now, you can keep the dog in a situation like when it's your only dog, you have means to take care of the dog, you don't have any small children, okay, because all dogs deserve a chance, but unfortunately, some dogs are just bad.
Like just random men, no, was not his cup of tea. Well, Cash was down on a chain, and he let this health department guy walk down to him,
Why?
rub his belly, scratch his ears, just act like the best dog to this man. And Dana's dad even explained to him, "Hey man, he doesn't like men. You know, don't try to get too friendly with him." And then he let him do all that. So it was just very surprising. And the guy basically said that he didn't deem Cash dangerous. He said that it was ultimately a family matter because we were all living together when it happened, and it was up to us what we thought should be done about Cash. And when we talked to Dana's dad about it, we were like, well, how can we trust him again in someone's house?
No.
Like, we don't know what he's going to do. And he basically just said, don't put him down. Just let him stay here with me, out here on his chain, being a good dog, so he can't get in no trouble. Because none of us wanted to see him put down. It was not an
Of
easy
course.
decision, but it was
Yeah.
also,
It was heart-wrenching. She loved the dog. I get it. I believe her.
you have to worry about him biting somebody.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, next time he could kill. Okay? They can kill. Just they need to grab onto your neck and it's over, guys.
You can get arrested for that, I
Yeah.
believe, or at least charged, like, and pay medical bills
Negligence.
and all of this.
They could
and
sue her.
it's another
no
thing
money.
to also just let him hurt somebody knowing that he's done it before.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big thing. And it
Negligence.
happens. And I know Amberlynn tried to say, oh, you can retrain dogs. No, you can't.
Not this type of dog.
Sometimes there's nothing you can do for
Yeah.
an animal, but try to make it as comfortable as possible. And that's what we
God.
thought we did. But he was there for a while, and then me and Dana ended up moving out of that roommate's house because, like I said, that happened, a lot going on. We just ended up moving out of there. And then we moved in to our own place, tried to bring Cash there, but there was like this stray dog that walked around, and he was like the neighborhood dog. And when we tried to keep Cash there, he kept trying to get in a fight with his dog. And it's not like Cash could go out there and be by himself and run around anyway. Like, he'd have to be on a runner, but I was just afraid of him being on a runner and then him and this dog getting in a fight and Cash not being able to get away and him getting hurt because this dog was significantly bigger than him. I don't know what kind of dog it was. I want to say he might have been a Pyrenees, but he's a big dog. Cash was Great Pyrenees Australian Shepherd mix. He was a very beautiful dog. Tried to keep him there, so we just kept him down the road to Dana's dad's house.
Wait a minute. The dog wasn't a pit?
Everything with
Hold
him,
on.
like we would have. Tried to keep him there, so we just kept him down the road to Dana's dad's house. Saw him all the time, still took him and did everything with him like we would if he lived with us, like he was good. Well, then we go to move out of, this was in 2020, like I said. No, Cash got put down. Yeah, he did, that incident happened in 2020, but Cash got put down in 2021. So it's been very recent. Well, 2021, June of 2021, we go to move in with Dana's dad after we come out of the house that we had together. And the day that we're moving into the house, I don't know how, but he gets off of his chain, and my niece, who's 6, is swinging on the swing set that's up by the house, and he's just like, probably like 6 feet away from her, just like at a stance and growling, like he's just waiting for her to do the right move and he's gonna get her. And he had never done that before to her. Like, he knows those kids. Those kids have always played with him.
Yeah,
it was
but
crazy. Well, Dana realizes he's off of his chain. I don't tell it because I'm like moving stuff in and out in the front of the house. This is behind the house. Well, Dana starts yelling for me, telling me that he's off the chain. And, I try to get to Gracie, between him and Gracie, and so does Dana. And Dana tries to get him to get back on his chain, and he kind of growls at her, but then he kind of steps back and realizes who he is. I don't know if he was just like confused or what. Gets him back on the chain. Everything's fine. Like nothing happened, but it was scary. And I felt bad for him. And I just kept going down there trying to love on him, and he let me. And about 2 days later, I went down there and was like really good playing with him. I had him all excited. He was still on his chain, though. I didn't want him to get off of it just in case. But I was playing with a stick with him. Like, we were playing with toys. I was loving on him. Like, he was being such a good dog. And I turned around from him when I went to be done playing with him to go back inside because I had got dirty. I was ready to go in. I was ready to eat. Whatever. And as soon as I turned around from him, I don't know, like, what happened, but he jumped onto me, like, jumped, scratched my back all up, and was just, like, snarling and trying to get my neck from behind.
Yeah.
And, it was scary. I honestly thought that he was going to get me, but I just barely got out of his, like, chain range. And I went inside and I told Dana that, and I was like, I don't know if it was, like, something I did or, like, what happened, like, that he just snapped. And she tried to go down there and he tried to snarl and do everything her, but did not even let her attempt to play with him, anything. So then we were like going back and forth talking about it. We were like, well, what do we do? Like, if no one can go down there and play with him, no one can go down there and love on him, no one can go down there and just be like, come on, Cash, you're going to go with us today and run around and take him to PetSmart, whatever. like
Yeah.
just do normal
Instead of
things with your
PetSmart
dog.
type
We're
dog.
still doing those things. I was like, if we cannot do these things, he's going to be miserable, not having any attention, not just being on a chain day in and day out. Like, who's going to
When
feed him?
people can't go near him. Yep.
We were just like very concerned, and we were like, it's just no way for an animal to have to live with no human contact, just food and water when you can get it if you let someone near you to feed you, and being tied up all the time. Like, because there was no way we could take him out anywhere. How could we trust him? Like it was very emotional for me and Dana. We were both very upset.
Oh yeah.
And Dana's dad ended up putting him down for us. Yes, that means that he
probably shot him.
I don't know how to say that without it getting like in trouble on YouTube, but he did it himself. That's all you need to know.
It was
really.
Seriously, guys, if you don't live in the country, again, I'm not trying to just belittle any group of person, okay? My experience, the people that I knew, they generally led rural lives, and that's how they took care of stuff.
It was very traumatic.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, we lost our other dog, Piper. And we don't know what happened to Piper. We had her for about a year. She was about to turn 2 years old when we lost her. We lost her in January before me and Dana broke up. And I still don't know what happened to her. We don't know what was wrong with her. She had just got sick and passed. But she was a blue heeler Beagle Basset Hound.
Oh, wow.
And she was a pretty dog. And Cash and her got along really good. But I don't know. I'm sorry, my legs itch.
She got fleas?
So that is what happened with Cash. It wasn't her story to tell. It wasn't her business.
No,
she can try to say...
No, Amberlynn Reid's the biggest fucking hypocrite, literally and figuratively, ever to live. All right? She's a piece of shit.
That she tried to make like this big deal about everything when it was going on. I don't remember her making a big deal of everything.
Because she probably didn't. She has nothing to talk about you for, and she just had to pick something out of her brain to blow out of proportion.
We're trying to take care of that baby, try to get everything figured out with the health department. I had a lot of stuff going on when it went down. I don't remember her putting her 2 cents in towards it. And I mean, ultimately, it was up to me and Dana. Like, she can say that she was upset about it and that dogs can be retrained. Like I said, maybe dogs can be retrained, but from my experience,
not that dog.
No. I mean, but I don't know if it's like a southern thing, if it's like a backwoods thing, but it's pretty, I don't want to say normal, but my whole life I've had to have dogs put down and us just be the ones to do it. I've never... Yeah,
guys, it's disgusting, all right? My city heart wouldn't allow this. This is how the culture runs. Damn fly.
I know myself. I know my stepdad's done it.
They think it's more humane. At least this is how it's explained to me. It's their dog and their responsibility to take care of the dog. Okay?
And, Dana's dad had done it.
It's very emotional for everybody involved, except Amberlynn Reid, who's a piece of fucking shit.
To me, I don't know, it was just like one of those things that's normal to me. It might not be normal to some of you guys, but it is to me. And you can call me an animal killer. But I mean, it's a very traumatic thing that happened. And nothing you guys say like that is going to bother me because I know where I stand with it. So yeah, that is Cash and everything that happened with him. You see us in March of 2017 staying in a hotel with Maggie, Sarah.
Hold on a second, guys. I got to find out. All right, so I take it back. Casper's not a pit bull. Apparently, Cash was a great Pyrenees and Australian Shepherd mix. All right, so it's clear this dog was not a pit bull, but my analogy still stands. Some dogs are just poorly bred, okay? And then taking the dog away from its mother so early is also not good, but let's continue.
Dana, and then me and Amberlynn. I don't remember why we did that. I think it was a spur of the moment thing, and we just did it. But it was a fun time. And we go to Hooters and we go to Five Below. Amberlynn talks about getting new furniture. She didn't get new furniture while she was there. She goes on a date with
At Five Below.
Becky in this month. Yes, we did drive her. Like I said, I was really angry with Charla.
Yeah.
Jax came to stay with me at this point because I had decided to like just basically move in with Dana. And Amberlynn states in one of those videos that I was offering to still take her everywhere and do those things that she needed to do. I did not offer.
Oh, I'm sure she didn't.
I mean, maybe occasionally I did, but most of the time she was just asking if I could, and it was either I say yes or it was just all hell breaking loose. Like, you know, just never hearing the end of it, so we would just do it.
I
got a
believe
new
that.
car
Yeah, I believe that's how she manipulates. Yep.
at this point as well, and I don't have anything written after this. So March of 2017, shortly after me and Dana got together, her niece ended up having to stay with us. Her youngest niece, she was 2 at the time.
And this is why she's so close to the niece, because, you know, they basically had to parent this child. Again, some cultures, they just can't keep their kids. I don't know. I don't get it. So it's one thing to pass dogs around, which is disgusting, but it is a whole separate level of disgusting to pass children around. Because if you think dogs struggle when they're rehomed a lot, kids don't do very well. Kids do worse.
And
generally, until they can find a loving home.
The weekend that we ended up having to keep her, like, and not knowing when she would have to go back to her mom, I was taking Dana with me to a family wedding in Tennessee. And it was kind of a short moment, but we took her with us. It was a good time. You know, I had to figure this out, was really, you know, upset with how things had went down with her niece. And I just wanted to make sure that I could do what I needed to do for that little girl, basically. And that's why I got a new car. I had a 2000 Honda Civic, literally had just hit 100,000 miles. When I got it, it only had 64,000 miles on it. I had that car a long time. It was very reliable. It was awesome, you know, but it just was not up to standards taking care of a small child. So I got a brand new car.
Or to drive to Tennessee from Florida.
Put every mile on it, went into debt over this car, and I loved it. And
having a reliable source of transportation is worth going into debt for, because if you don't have a reliable source of transportation, it's harder to work. Everything's harder, especially if you live in the country. New York City, you don't need to drive. You do in Florida.
At this point in time, that's when I moved in with Dana, because we had this child we had to take care of together, and that's one of the reasons that me and Dana kept a friendly relationship after we broke up. It took a little while. It did take a few months.
She probably fell in love with that child
before me and Dana were on okay terms after we broke up. But that's the only reason I kept friendly terms with her, is because I still take care of those kids in any way that I can. Like, they are so hype I'm coming for a week. I'm going to finally see them. Last year when I came for a few days, like I came for like 4 or 5 days, and I didn't get to see them. They were in Ohio visiting with Dana and her family. But they are all very excited to see me. But that's one of the reasons I moved in so quickly with Dana, like I said, is because we had to take on raising this child indefinitely and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to get into all of that reasoning and whatnot.
Thank God that child had you and Dana.
We had to fix up the house somewhat. We had to make her a bedroom. We had to do all this stuff and just try to work as well. And eventually her nephew's in there with us for a few months. And
wow, 2 kids.
I want to say, let me see the rest of 2017. I know I want to say either April or May of 2017, I take Dana to Florida for a weekend. That was a mistake. To try to drive 10 hours and drive back 10 hours in like 2 days, 2.5 days.
I'm sorry, they were back in Kentucky at this time, not Florida. I'm getting my timeline all screwed up with this one. So, I mean, okay, sorry guys. So they were living in Kentucky. That's even more you need a good car.
Days, really. We literally left on a Thursday night after work, got off at like midnight, drove all the way to Florida, and that was surprising everyone. My sister was the only one that knew. Got a really cheap hotel just to sleep. Slept there. And then finally got the okay to meet everyone at Texas Roadhouse. So I met my sister and everybody at Texas Roadhouse, surprised everybody. And and that was a Friday.
Everybody keeps talking about Texas Roadhouse, even that cinnamon toast Ken, I'm saying that right. Jordy said something about it. I hate the Texas Roadhouse. I think it's just nasty. But maybe because we have a lot of restaurants to compete with my area, I don't know.
Friday, tried to see
Is this kind of touristy here?
a lot of people Saturday, and then did some stuff Sunday, and then had to leave on Sunday and be back so we could work on Monday, and it was just
It's brutal.
miserable. So don't do that. Don't try to do a 20-hour road trip, basically.
Well,
round or
they were young. They could do it. Now, I'm flying.
yeah, 20-hour round trip in 2.5 days because it sucks. Unless it's like you have to. And then we spent the summer working, and that is when all of her nieces and her nephew had to start staying with us.
Oh my gosh.
The oldest one, not so much because she stayed with her dad, but we were having to watch all of them a lot and just really just keep them a lot. We kept the smallest.
Telling you, the circle that they ran into, this is how they live.
This one and her nephew, so the 2-year-old and her nephew, the whole summer, like nonstop. Had to go to Ohio to get her nephew, and that's when he started staying with us, actually.
Wow.
He had went up there to stay with her aunt for the summer. She was having surgery, something, and no one could watch him, so we had to go all the way to Ohio and get him. And then when we brought him back, he just essentially had to stay with us.
And they were super young. I don't know how old she is, but I'm guessing she had to been, around 25, 26-ish at this point. That is really young to have that much responsibility thrust upon you.
And it wasn't until the second day of school that he ended up not staying with us, and it really upset me because I had made sure he had a room as well. Set him up, took all of them school shopping, made sure they were set for the year just for him to go and stay with his dad.
So they had to financially support them on top of that. Wow.
Dad and not see him anymore, and it really sucked.
And they couldn't afford it.
Not having the control of, hey, I don't want this kid right now. Will you just watch him for me, keep him for me, take care of him for me, and then just the kid be taken from you at any time because there's nothing you can do about it legally.
Oh my God.
It really sucked. But it happened a lot. And then that was most of the summer. I want to say maybe we did a few things here and there with Amberlynn and Ricky, but that was Amberlynn and Becky and Ricky and Eric. All of them. I know that she was trying to get along with all of them, like get to know them. And Becky, like she was doing her own thing, and I was doing mine. After the summer goes, like I said, he went away, and we just had the 2-year-old most of the time. My mom helped watch her a lot. I'm just trying to think of anything that like spectacular or special or meaningful happened.
Sounded like she was pretty busy.
In October of 2017, we both ended up losing our jobs at Source HOV. Amberlynn mentions the name a few times. It's not called that anymore.
Did they finally get tired of you calling out all the time?
And we start working at this call center. We're there till January. So, but in that time frame, I want to say not a whole lot happens. It is what it is. I get my pit bull between that time and then, though. So I didn't have my pit bull very long before we had to find another place for her to stay.
Yeah.
See, she was really interesting to have.
This is where I get confused. This is, I guess, a pit bull.
In January of 2018, I lose my job. And, lose my job. Because they had this rule where you couldn't create a pattern of missing with another coworker. It's weird.
Oh, it's weird. They wanted you to,
because I had a UTI.
It was weird. They wanted you to come into work every day. But so what ends up, she said something about a UTI here. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but so you call out, it's like the boy who cried wolf situation. If you keep calling out and then inevitably something happens where you actually do have to call out and then they don't believe you.
Yeah, so bad I couldn't even drive.
Oh yeah, they hurt.
Dana ended up driving me to this hospital to get checked out, and literally when we went in the next time, they were like, "You don't need to return until you get a call from whoever," and then they told us that we had created a pattern of missing together. So this video is getting long, so I don't want to start too much into 2018, but that's the reason I ended up moving to Florida, is because after we lost our jobs there, we came into some 401k money, and we thought we were going to be okay for a little while, but we ended up moving in with Dana's friend, and we just thought we were going to...
Kids, if you're watching, do not, and I repeat, do not cash in your 401k when you leave one job. Okay? Do not, do not, do not. Number one, you've got the penalty, you have to pay tax on it. And number two, it's a 401k for a reason. These people, like Amberlynn, prime example, they literally think they're going to work forever. They're not. Kids, young adults who watch this, keep your 401k. Just because you leave a job, you can leave your 401k there and then roll it into a new 401k when you get a good job again. Okay. And what I'm guessing is I don't know if they socked away money or not, but a lot of times they get like an employer match. So that's like free money. So by them cashing it in, it just shows how much they needed a responsible adult in their life.
Going to be okay for a little while until we found another job. And then my sister ended up coming to Kentucky to see somebody, and some drama went down, and she wanted me to go back to Florida with her. And my dad was basically like, I'll help you out with bills until you find a job here, you know, like just let me help you and all this. And that's why I ended up moving back to Florida in 2018. But I know things got kind of long talking about cash, but that's 2017. Not a whole lot of interesting stuff happened. I just know that year I worked really hard at work and was just trying to basically take care of these kids that I still,
oh my gosh,
like I said, help out now, you know, and make sure that
you fall
they
in
can
love
always
with
get a
them.
hold of me if they need to. They all know that. You know, it's just, there was a lot that happened in the beginning of 2017, and then it got boring. So I'll make another video for 2018 just because this one's getting so long. I still am going to do some live streams and stuff. And then another thing I wanted to talk about was the whole Dana situation. So me and Dana, like I said, had a friendly relationship because of the relationship that we had with her nieces and nephew. Like, they literally are still part of my whole world. You know, like I have so many kids that are just like, they are basically mine.
Oh,
I
yeah.
treat them as my own.
Sure.
And those four and my best friend's four are like, they are mine. I consider them my own. Like, that's why I tried to make sure me and Dana still had a friendly relationship. That's why I wanted to make sure me and Dana did things as adults when we broke up, because there is no reason.
Well, it's kind of like divorcing parents, even though they weren't legally married.
That I shouldn't have been able to have it done that way in the first place. And
yeah, and the children, that's not fair to the kids. They grow attached too.
Not only that, but I wanted to make sure I was still going to have a healthy relationship with these kids, that no one was putting a bad taste in their mouth about me, because they know just as much as I know.
And believe me, they've had probably seen more trauma than Amberlynn's ever seen in her entire life. Okay, getting passed from family to family to family. No, it sounds like the kids were not in the system, because if the kids were in the system, at least they could get some money out of it to help raise them, but that doesn't sound like the case. So you want to like minimize and sort of make their childhoods as normal as possible at this point. And then if one day Destiny just up and disappeared, well, you know, that's just another disappointment for the kids in a grand scheme of being passed around and not being able to stay with their parents because God knows why.
How much I love them, how much I care for them, and all that. And I know my nephew took it really hard when everything happened, because
oh yeah,
for almost 2 years before that, he lived with us.
Of course.
So for everything to go down like that, I know it was heartbreaking for him, and he really did. He took it hard, and he kept in touch with me probably the most. The littler ones probably would, but they're still too small to have a phone, so there's that. I was gonna choke up for a minute.
Yeah.
About them, because it really does suck to be that close to some kids and you not have any control, I guess, just being able to see them. Really, it does suck. I can't wait to see all of them. But me and Dana had a friendly relationship until it was either the end of January or the beginning of February this year of 2023, and I had posted a post on the year-to-date mark of when Dana broke up with me, just saying how far I had come as a person. And I'm going to get into more of that, like, around the time me and Dana broke up. I'm going to get really into that because you guys would be able to understand more of where I'm coming from with it. But I just made a post just thanking everyone that had helped me out. And, Dana had posted a status in rebuttal to that because we were Facebook friends. I thought we were cool. And she posted something that said that I always played the victim or something. And I don't want to play the victim in anything.
No, if anything, I'm actually quite surprised. I didn't think I was going to have this type of reaction to the video. I think that Destiny is more relatable now. And I mean, relatable? No. Yeah, maybe like she seems to be more of the big girl in this situation than all of them put together. Okay. Yes, like, look, she comes from like a, what she said, backwoods country sort of background. Again, I knew people like that. I personally didn't come from that, but half my family did. So I get that. Maybe that's why I feel like a little like tinge in my heart now for her. I mean, I came here expecting to completely rip her. Um, and I can't. She seems like the biggest adult out of any of them.
just am sharing my experience. I don't need anyone to feel sorry for me. I don't need anyone to help me. I've done a lot of
I'm
that
sure
on my own.
she's very strong. Yes.
That's not
This girl's seen some shit in her life, and she's trudging on no matter what.
What I came on here to do. That's not what I'm looking for. Is
this story made her more human. That's the word I was grasping for.
Help or anything. Like I've got it, but I'm just on here to share my experience with everything that happened. I can promise you I've been 100% on everything. But like I said, we were friends, and then she posted that, and then I was just like, really, my feelings were hurt because I thought things were cool between us, and then she was going to say something like that, so I blocked her on everything. Had her blocked until I found out she was pregnant. When you're with someone for so long and they want children, and you have to talk about who's going to carry the child and who can't essentially carry a child, and you find out the person that you didn't think ever could hold a child has one, I felt very happy for her. She deserved it. And of course I unblocked her, and I reached out to her. Lexus knows this, and Lexus knows how I feel about it.
I'm sure.
I just congratulated.
Well, they effectively had kids together, number one. And it sounds like, if their relationship would have lasted, probably Destiny felt like she would have had to been the one to carry the child. Sounds fine. So makes it more sad because Dana ended up losing the child. That happens too. It's heartbreaking. I mean, this was just a very heartbreaking video.
Congratulated her, and I said, you'll always have this big piece of my heart,
Yeah.
You thought you were going to spend your whole life with somebody, and Lexus knows that. Lexus knows, she understands, really. Not really that she knows, she understands. And, I don't know why Amberlynn's trying to portray that as that I was cheating on Lexus.
Because Amberlynn is a piece of shit.
With saying those kind of things, feelings with exes are weird, but I was just so happy for her. No one else in this world deserved it, I swear, more than Dana did, to be a mother. So then when I found out a couple days ago that she had lost the baby, I'm trying not to cry as it is.
Yeah, it's very emotional.
I was really devastated for her. She didn't deserve that. I don't care how shitty she was to me. She didn't deserve that at all. She is going to be a great mom. She's going to get her chance. I didn't come on here to be mean.
Well, at least now she knows she can get pregnant, okay? I know. I've been through a miscarriage. It's very emotional.
And vile. I know I make some funny jokes and all that, like I said, but that's not what this is for.
No, this is the most human I've ever seen her.
And I feel like Amberlynn is she's the one being malicious. She's the one that keeps coming back at all this stuff. And that's not what I'm trying to do. She can say that, and then obviously we're not working together. I don't know why anyone would think that. She doesn't want me posting anything. I have some screenshots that I'm going to share with you guys in another video.
She's bringing receipts.
But I just wanted to clear all of that up. Everything with Cash, everything with Dana. I don't know why Amberlynn's trying to portray everything the way she is. I guess it's because she likes to keep the narrative in her own. I said I was going to do...
Well, she's a shit starter. Like I said, with the culture of sort of the lower class type people, not necessarily socioeconomic. You could be a millionaire and be trashy. Okay. So Amberlynn Reid is a shit starter, a fucking attention. And this video made me dislike her just that much more. Okay, I am not a Destiny stan, but Destiny's moving a little bit closer to my heart, and I don't know that we're going to call her a Gorl just yet.
Do laundry in this video too, but you know, it is what it is. It's just sitting right here. I'll do it when I'm done with this, but I just wanted to come in on here and say that. And I'm sorry I haven't posted anything in a couple days. I've just been super busy, been working. I had some stuff I had to do yesterday, stuff I had to do today.
You have a life.
So
normal people
I might
have
live
lives.
stream with y'all in a couple days. I might try to make another video in a couple days, but just thought I would clear some things up for you guys.
Thank you.
Just know that I have no reason to lie to you. I have not made myself look good at all in any of these videos.
No.
Like Amberlynn said in her live earlier, I'm exposing myself, and it's because I don't have any shame. I'm not afraid of what people say. I'm not afraid of what people think of me. So, you know, it is what it is. All right, that is all. I'll see you guys in the next video.
All right, guys. So that was it. That was a very emotional episode, like I said. I have a different way I feel about Destiny now. Like, again, I'm still not a stan. I'm not a stan of anybody because, you know, she's kind of put herself in these situations. Once she broke up with Amberlynn Reid, she should have known that she shouldn't have went back. Okay. So, I think I'm going to leave it here. I probably am not going to edit out a lot of this, actually, because it's all really just something I want my audience to see if they haven't seen it already, just to get this from a mother's point of view, who's older, who's lived with both kinds of cultures of people. Okay. God, I'm so sorry. I'm not meaning to come after anybody. You hate this, leave it in the comments because I do read all your comments, although I'm behind. Anyways, that is all for today. Thank you all for your comments, likes, and subscriptions. I appreciate every single one of you, even the critical ones, because I need it. All right, have a great day. Bye.